Hi guys, it's Thanksgiving break, so I'm going to give you a break and you don't have to turn anything into me this week. But I do want to show you some cool things that I have in my house. I want to talk about pianos today. And I know some of you have pianos in your home. They're actually keyboards, right? Things you can plug in and use electricity to make the sounds. Well, these are acoustic pianos. Acoustic means that the sound is made by the instrument itself. We don't need any electricity, we don't need speakers, we just use this. So this piano right here is called an upright, which means it stands tall. It leans up against the wall and it's usually good for small spaces. I have this one in my living room, and when I'm not making videos for you, I keep my TV on top of it. But for today, let me show you how an acoustic piano works. First, we have 88 keys, white keys and black keys. They both do the same thing. We're going to show you what happens on the inside. So, I can play my music on these keys by pressing them down. Here's what's going on inside. I'm going to open up the lid. And against the wall of this piano are, you'd think, 88 strings, but actually, for most of the high strings, there are 3 strings for each key. For the mid range, we have 2 strings for each key, and for the low range, we have 1 string. Let's take a closer look. We come inside the piano, and we see all of these things here. They're called hammers. And when I hit a key, the hammers will move and they will hit one of the strings. So I have this key here. Let's see the hammer move. And you notice it's hitting the strings there. And as long as I have my finger on that key, the sound will keep going. As soon as I lift my finger up, the sound will stop. Now, sometimes I can't keep my finger on that key the whole time. I need to do other things with my fingers. So we have something to help us. We have 3 pedals on the bottom of the piano. You can see my foot right here, whoop, touches the pedals. Now, even though there are 3, I have to admit, I only use one of them. It's the one on the right, and it's called the sustain pedal. To sustain means we hold something out. If I press that pedal down and then play my note, the note will ring out until I'm ready for it to end, and I can use my fingers to do something else. So I'm going to press down on this pedal. Okay, my foot is pressing down, and I'm going to hit this key again. See how even though I've lifted my finger, we can still hear the sound until I lift up my foot. And now the sound is gone. Here's what happens when I hit my keys, a bunch of them at the same time, with the pedal pressed down. And I lifted my foot up. If I didn't use the pedal with my foot, here's what would happen. That's a very short sound. As soon as I lift my hands up, the sound is gone. Now I have another piano down in my studio that's a lot bigger than this one. Let's go take a look. All right, I'm down in my studio now where I have a lot more space, which means I can use a bigger piano. This is called a baby grand. Now it's a baby grand because it's a little shorter than a regular grand. But here's the difference. The strings don't go up and down against the wall. They go out long. The function is still the same though. I can hit my keys like this, and and as soon as I lift my hands, the sound stops. Or I can press the pedal with my foot and hit the keys again. The sound goes until I lift my foot. Let's take a look at the hammers inside the instrument to see how they're hitting the strings. Were you able to see them in the middle of the screen? Let's take a look again, and I'll play a song that you guys all know. I didn't use the pedal with my foot at all. Here's what it would sound like if I put my foot on the pedal and let the chords ring out. When we look at all of these brown pieces of wood, these are pads. They're resting on the strings right now so the strings can't move. When I push my foot down on the sustain pedal, it lifts up all the pads. It's hard to see them go up and down. They only raise about 1/4 of an inch, but it means that the strings are able to vibrate. Here's what a tone cluster would sound like if the pads were down. You lift your hands up and the sound stops. Now if you put your foot on the pedal and lift all the pads up are up now, here's what a tone cluster would sound like. And when you finally let the pads back down, it stops the sound. Here's my piano with the lid closed. This is how I usually play it, so I don't bug the neighbors next door. Also note that I have the lid to my piano open. This bar right here holds the lid up. It just means that it's going to make the sound louder. I can close the lid and the sound won't be quite as loud. Finally, one of the coolest things about my baby grand is it's also a player piano. Now, most pianos don't have this function, but mine does. You'll notice down here, this looks like something you put a CD in. I can turn it on, and then I can actually press play on a CD, and the keys will play themselves. Let's watch. Now there's one more piano that I have in my house, but I actually call it a keyboard, and I'll show you why. This instrument might be a lot like what some of you have in your house. This is a keyboard. I don't call it a piano because when I hit the keys, it doesn't hit any strings. It just makes a sound through a computer. I need electricity, and when I hit each key, it's going to signal the computer inside to make a sound, which is why I can actually change the sound to be different instruments. Right now, it sounds like a piano. But I can also make it sound like a guitar by hitting this button. I want it to sound like a xylophone, the instruments that we use in class. Let's try this. Or I want to use strings like a violin or a cello, like you're going to use in 5th grade. One of the really cool things about this keyboard is that I can plug it into my computer and I can make recordings of any songs I want to make.